here we are. Brand new year, brand new month. All over the world at Centers for Spiritual Living in January, we are entering into the basics, the fundamentals of this teaching. And I love this time of year. I love this time because it feels like it gives us an opportunity to share just the love that we have for this teaching. The love that we have for beloved Dr. Ernest Holmes, who set out in his lifetime to take the truth of many faith traditions and to compile them and to create this teaching that we call the science of mind and spirit, or the science of mind for short. And so I would like to just take a moment, recognizing that many people in our community here in the sanctuary and online are newer to this teaching. I just want to spend a little bit of time and highlight a couple of things that are important to me. And as we walk towards stretching into the possibilities, I think it is really important to remind us, how did this all come about? How did this all come about? So beloved Dr. Ernest Holmes, he worked on compiling this and creating this wonderful teaching from about 1920 all the way to 1960 when he made his transition. And did you know that initially he was not interested in creating a church? He wasn't interested in that. He really wanted to have a teaching organization. So he started the, I don't really know what the name, do you remember what the name is, Leslie? Thank you. The Institute of Religious Science at that time. And it was a teaching symbol. It was a teaching organization. And I believe that is what we can still feel today, that the teaching, our courses, our classes, where we really dive into what this faith tradition has to offer, can give us so much more than we can do on a Sunday morning. Sunday mornings are really about sharing our love for this teaching, showing our demonstrations of having lived this teaching, and then the classes is where we are diving in. So I just wanted to give a little pitch. Make sure you take a look at the class and course offerings and participate in them. He wrote a book. Well, he wrote, I think, 60 books or something like that. He wrote a lot of books. But this one he wrote. Now, if you're very new to this teaching, don't open it. Start with something like this thing called you, this thing called life, something like that. Don't do this one. But then when you have had a couple classes, or if you work with someone who pulls out specific things, it's an incredible book. It's an incredible book. And Dr. Ernest Holmes, he starts us off with these 4 chapters. The thing itself, what it does, how it works, and how to use it. Are there any people in here who would go to that chapter first? That's what I did. I went straight to, how do I use this? But then I realized I really have to understand it. What is the thing itself? What is this thing itself that he so often refers to? That is the honest of life. That is the creator, that is spirit, source, God, the universe, infinite possibility. That is the stuff that is all around us and within us. He often called it the thing itself. Take a moment and ask yourself, what do I call that? What do I call that? Maybe beloved? Spirit? Source? Infinite intelligence? Whatever works. The thing itself. And so in January, we are going to kind of lean into these 4 chapters. And we're going to understand a little bit more deeply, what does that mean for me? And so if you're new here, great, wonderful. If something doesn't make sense, sometimes we get into using jargon. Come and tap me on the shoulder and say, Reverend Karen, what did you mean by that? I'm absolutely open to that. If you have been in this teaching for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 35, 45 years, I think I probably got everybody with that. Yes. Don't look at this time in January as elementary, or there's nothing for me there, because I already know that, right? This teaching, if you allow yourself to be inspired by it, if you allow yourself to have your curiosity and your love take you past the sometimes challenging language in it, it opens a whole new world. And that is what I'm so excited about. I am so excited that we are, as a community, that we are doing this, that we are joining the tradition of studying these 4 chapters. And so today's talk is then called, God's nature is our nature. That's one of my grandkids. I just love using pictures of my grandkids. When I can't have them in person on the platform, like we had Christmas Eve, you know. But yes, God's nature is our nature. That is the fundamental pillar on which this teaching stands. This idea that there's a power for good greater than I am, and I can use it. We all can use it. And so I thought I would start by sharing from the Declaration of Principles that Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote in 1927, the first stanza, because it really speaks to that. It says, "We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existing cause," which just means it's the honest of life and there was nothing else before or after. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, everything we see and we can't see, all of creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. Think, it's not used up by its creation. There is always more. It's infinite. It's never ending. It's not being used up. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. And so that, beloveds, is what we are going to lean into. This thing itself, this idea that which has always been and will always be in the macro is taking place in us in the micro. We are the captains of our own ship. The God nature is our nature. There is no separation. And so, Ernest Holmes said in 1958, he phrased it this way: "We are forerunners in a campaign of spiritual freedom, intellectual integrity, and emotional stability in a spiritual world. It is our privilege to take part in a new spiritual renaissance, in a new spiritual awakening and a new spiritual rebirth. That is all up to each one of us. And we say this all through the year, but I think it's not ever more true than in the first months of a new year. This teaching, the way Reverend Leslie and I are interpreting it and living it out and bringing it forth and sharing our viewpoints of it, it will mean so much more if you step into it, if you question it. Don't take what we say as truth. Find your own truth. What does this mean for me? What is the word that I use when I commune with the divine? How do I address the allness of life? How do I hold it? How do I relate to it? It's a wonderful time of opportunity. And we have an affirmation, and I would love for all of us to say this affirmation together. I am a radiant reflection of divine love and wisdom. Again, I am a radiant reflection of divine love and wisdom. So oneness. There's only one power, and we are all of it. I do think that we need to work a little bit. We need to have some practices to work our way around it, yes? Because the world gives us a lot of seeming contradicting evidence. I don't know about you, but when I look out into the world, I see, where's the oneness here, I ask myself. How is this possible in a way where, in a world that is really created by oneness? And so that is the great big challenge. Martin Whipple calls this a collective firewall of separation and fear. We are all, human nature for some reason comes with this firewall of separation and fear, that we have to work our way back into the realization that we truly are one, that there is only one of us. That this energy, this vibration, this God stuff was all that was available when we were brought forth, and so we are indeed made of that God essence. We have the God seed right within. Right within. If you gave any gifts that had batteries included for Christmas, that's what this is. The God seed already installed. Already right in there. And I was thinking, that's all good. I'm one of those people that really needs practices. I need to find out what are some good practices so that I can actually be what Raymond Charles Barker, a colleague of Dr. Ernest Holmes, said. He said, every person is a thinking, creating inlet and outlet of the action of infinite mind, infinite spirit, and infinite love. For me to walk through my week, through my experiences, through my life, to remember that I am an outlet and an inlet of the divine, I need practices. I don't know about you, but I need them. I need them. And so I put some thought into it, and I came up with these I am practices, because they help me to remember the I am. Many of us are familiar with the story in the Bible where Moses was giving directions on how to lead the Israelites by a burning bush, and he was expected to then go down the mountain and tell the people. And so he asked, Who do I say said this all to me? Because I could only imagine saying, just talk to the burning bush. And so it is recorded that the voice of the divine said, I am that I am. And regardless if you believe that that is the truth, I want you to feel into this I am, the statement, the spiritual authority that comes when we stand in that, in the I am. Can you feel it? Powerful words. So what could be some I am practices that help us remember that God and I are one eternally? Well, let's start with the I. The I for me stands for immersions. Being deep in that God stuff, that love of the divine, that comfort, that peace. Allowing my entire being to feel that it is not just all around me, that it is inside me. It also says in the Bible, be still and know I am God. Be still. I think it behooves us to schedule into our very, very busy lives stillness, moments of stillness. And they don't have to be hours or days long, 15 minutes. We happen to have an online morning meditation that lasts 15 minutes every weekday morning. Beloveds come together, they dial into our main Zoom room, and they connect, and they're still for 15 minutes. Perhaps for you, being in nature would work. Schedule a walk. Enjoy our beautiful peace and meditation garden. Just stop by during the week, it's open all the time. Find places to be still, to listen to the divine within. So that is what the I stand for, immersing ourselves into it. And then out of that comes an awakening to the truth that God and I are one. An awakening to the truth that possibilities are endless. That if I am willing, if I am making myself available to heal the wounds that I have picked up, to lay down the judgments that I have of others or of myself, I am seeing the world different. I'm awakening to an absolutely new world. It is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating how much something out there has changed when something in here has changed. I think it's Wayne Dyer who said, if you look at the things out there differently, the things you look at are different. Oh my gosh. When you have that experience, it is like the neon lights are going off. Oh, that is what they were talking about. I feel it. I feel it. You know, awakening to the truth that the mighty oak tree is in the acorn. Awakening to the truth that our highest potential is already within us. Now think about the acorn. It is not going from acornness to oakness in one step. Think about the challenges that it goes through, the messiness, the wind, the animals who come by and nibble on you, all of those things, right? I'm sure you can find some correlation in your own life. I know I can. There were some animals nibbling, some wind just whooping me around. And yet, once the awareness, the awakenedness to the oakness is there, we make it through those messy parts. We make it through those challenging chapters. We just make it through easier. So the invitation, the practice is awaken to seeing the God every time you look into the mirror and every time you look into somebody else's face. You know that Karen Drucker song, "You Are the Face of God"? She happens to come at the end of the month. Just wanted to, let you all know. She's probably going to sing that song. You are the face of God. Oh, what a practice if we can walk through Wednesday afternoon and really see everyone that we see as a manifestation of the divine, a face of God. And so if we engage in these practices, we come to the M, and the M stands for me for morphing, for seeing something different, being something different, allowing life to move us. A couple of months ago, I bought a new one of these notebooks. I love to use these notebooks for my research and for my prep. And so I bought a new one, and I think we have a slide for it. And I was a little disappointed because I like it a little bit more shiny, And so I was like, oh, there are a bunch of doves. Okay, that's fine. That's nice. And for 2 months, I have been working with this book. Put my notes into it, had it right in front of my face, did everything. And then, 2 weeks ago, I gave a talk, and then I had it in the back there, and I stood it up against the chair. And when I came off the platform, and I walked towards it, this is what I saw. Two months I had this right here, and I never saw that. This, beloveds, this is for me the reminder that if we allow ourselves to open to this teaching and allow this teaching, this way of life, to get a hold of us, this is what we see everywhere: beauty, love, possibility, joy. And so my invitation is for you to find your I am practice. Find your practices that allow you to see the whole new world. Find your practices to see beauty everywhere. Our Wednesday night, our midweek spiritual connection is designed to invite us over and over again. Every Wednesday, something is happening here on the campus. We're going to come together, we're going to chant, we're going to meditate together, we're going to have art projects, we're going to deepen into our monthly themes, and we have a wonderful one-table experience lined up once a month where we share food and talk about different faith traditions. All of it is designed to find that opening within our hearts, to invite people in, to support them on their journey. Because that, beloveds, is how we, as a New Vision community, help the world to see that the God nature and our nature is truly the same. I am so glad we're doing this all together. Thank you. And let us go ahead and anchor this with a prayer, with our form of affirmative prayer. Please join me as we just recognize exactly that, the allness of life, sweet spirit, this vibration of love that is everywhere present here in the sanctuary, in the connection that we have with our online community. Love, peace, harmony, grace, flowing up, so palpable, and knowing God and I are one eternally. And it is from this place that I take a moment and recognize that all these God qualities are the God seeds that are planted within all people everywhere, those who I know and love and those who I haven't met yet. How grateful I am. How grateful I am to know that this organization, this love that is permeating all the walls and all the ether waves here at the New Vision Center, that this love is awakening hearts and transforming lives constantly, all of the time. I am so, so grateful to know this truth, to live this truth. And together we anchor it by saying, so it is.